On my birthday, I received a message from my dead grandfather. Happy birthday. I'm still alive. I tracked him down and found him in a nursing home. They stole everything from you, he whispered. That night, I delivered justice, and I was just getting started. It was my 27th birthday, and everything seemed normal. I woke up in my small apartment with sunlight streaming through the window. I worked fixing computers in a small town, living a quiet life. That day, I expected a few messages from friends, maybe a cake from my neighbor Clara, who never forgets my birthday. But what happened that day changed my life. I was drinking coffee and checking my phone when I saw a message from an unknown number. It read, "Happy birthday, little one. I'm still alive. Grandpa." I froze. My grandfather, Manuel, supposedly died 5 years ago when I was 22. The news had shattered me. He was my favorite person. I spent summers at his house, helping in the garden and listening to his stories. My parents, Laura and Carlos, said he had a heart attack and wanted to be cremated. There was no funeral, and I was so heartbroken I didn't question it. That message turned everything upside down. I tried calling the number, but no one answered. The message had arrived at 3 a.m. Who are you? My grandfather is dead. I wrote. Minutes later, a reply. I'm not dead. I'm at Sol de Mañana nursing home. Come. Don't tell anyone. My heart raced. The nursing home was an hour away in a small town. I couldn't sit still. I called my mom to test the waters. Mom, happy birthday to me. I said, pretending to be casual. Congrats, she said, but she sounded tense. I was thinking about Grandpa. I miss him. Anything else about his death? Silence. Son, we told you it was quick. Don't think about that today, she said and hung up. Her nervousness gave me a bad feeling. I grabbed my car keys and drove to Sol de Mañana. My mind raced as I drove. What if it was a trap? But the hope of seeing my grandfather pushed me forward. I arrived at noon. The nursing home was an old but clean building with a small garden. The receptionist, a kind woman, confirmed Manuel Garcia was there. He's in the common room. Are you family? I'm his grandson, I said, my stomach in knots. In the common room, elderly people played cards or stared out windows. I saw him in a wheelchair, thinner with white hair, but his eyes were the same. Little one, he whispered as I approached. I hugged him, unable to believe it. He was alive. You shouldn't be here. It's dangerous, he said, glancing around. What happened, Grandpa? I asked. Lower your voice. Your parents faked my death. They locked me here. They took my house, my money. The truth is in my desk, in a drawer with papers. He said he had heart problems and didn't trust the nursing home's doctors. Get those papers, but be careful, he insisted. I promised a return and left quickly, my head spinning. My parents had been living in my grandfather's house since his death, claiming they were taking care of it. Now it all made sense. Rage burned inside me, but I needed proof. I decided to go to their house that afternoon. I knew they went shopping on Saturdays, so it was my chance. I had an old key my grandfather gave me years ago. As I drove, I planned everything. Get in, find the papers, get out without a trace. The house was silent when I arrived. I used the key and slipped in. My grandfather's desk was in his old office, covered in dust. I searched the drawers and found a hidden folder behind some books. Inside were documents, leaving everything to me, bank transfer receipts to my parents' accounts, and a letter from a doctor claiming my grandfather was incapacitated. All fake. They had faked his death and locked him away to steal from him. Rage made me tremble, but I stuffed the papers in my backpack and left. I couldn't wait. I wanted to confront my parents. But first, I needed my grandfather. I returned to the nursing home and told the receptionist, I want to take him for a walk. She hesitated, but allowed it after checking some papers. I helped my grandfather into the car. He was weak, but his eyes sparkled. Let's go see them, I said. He nodded, squeezing my hand. Be careful, little one. They're capable of anything. I drove straight to my parents' house. I didn't tell them I was coming. I wanted to see their faces. They were in the garden unloading groceries when I pulled up and helped my grandfather out. When they saw him, they went pale. My mom dropped the bag, and my dad's mouth hung open. What are you doing here? My mom stammered. My dad tried to approach, but my grandfather raised a hand. Don't come near, he said, his voice shaky but firm. How could you? I said, unable to hold back. You faked his death, locked him away, and stole everything. I pulled out the papers and showed them. This is proof. Fake will transfers everything. My mom started crying, claiming it wasn't like that, just a misunderstanding. My dad turned red. You don't know what you're talking about. This is crazy, he shouted. But their eyes betrayed them. They were nervous, trapped. My grandfather spoke, his voice breaking. You left me in that place like garbage. My own son. He looked at my dad, who lowered his head. And you, Laura, knew everything. My mom sobbed but said nothing coherent. I knew they had no way out. We're going to the police? I said, this isn't over. My dad tried to grab my arm, but I pulled away. Don't touch me. It's done. I helped my grandfather back to the car. He was exhausted, breathing heavily. Easy, Grandpa. We're almost there, I said. He smiled weakly. I knew I could count on you, little one. As I drove to the police station, I felt relief mixed with rage. I had the proof. I had my grandfather, and I was ready to sue them. But something told me this wouldn't be easy. My parents wouldn't give up quickly, and my grandfather was frilier than he seemed. At the station, I gave the papers to an officer I knew from town, Martinez. I told him everything, the message, the nursing home, the documents. My grandfather gave his account, though speaking tired him. Martinez said it looked like a clear case of fraud and abuse, but needed investigation. He asked us to return the next day. I took my grandfather to my apartment to rest. He was pale, and I worried about his heart. Rest, Grandpa. We'll win this, I said. He nodded, but his eyes were sad. That night, I barely slept, reviewing the papers to ensure everything was in order. I thought about my parents, how they lied to me for years. The house, the money, it was all my grandfather's, and they took it from me too. But now I had the truth, and with my grandfather by my side, I was ready to fight. I knew suing them was just a beginning, but for the first time in a long time, I felt purpose. The next morning, I woke to my grandfather coughing on the couch. I rushed over and found him pale, clutching his chest. Grandpa, are you okay? I asked, worried. He smiled weakly. Just old, little one, but I'm not giving up now. I gave him water and one of his heart pills from a nursing home. He said he felt better, but his eyes were tired. I knew time wasn't on our side. We ate breakfast in silence, just bread and coffee. I didn't want to push him, but I needed to know more. How did this happen, Grandpa? How did they convince you to go to the nursing home? He sighed, staring out the window. They didn't convince me. They tricked me. Your dad said it was a medical checkup, just a few days. Then they signed papers saying I couldn't care for myself. When I tried to leave, it was too late. They took everything. His voice trembled, not with fear, but with anger. I promised we'd fix it. I called Sophia, a college friend now a lawyer, and told her everything over the phone, keeping details vague in case someone was listening. This sounds serious, Diego, she said. If the documents are legit, you have a solid case, but it'll be ugly. Your parents won't sit still. We agreed to meet at her office that afternoon. Before hanging up, she warned, be careful. If they did this, you don't know what else they're capable of. I took my grandfather to the police station as requested. Martinez, a serious officer, reviewed the papers again. This is bad, he said. We've seen elder abuse cases, but this is next level. We'll open an investigation, but you need a lawyer for the civil side. I mentioned Sophia, and he nodded. Good idea. Stay in touch and don't talk to your parents without someone present. We left with a promise they'd call soon. At Sophia's office, things got real. She was direct, with short hair and an intimidating energy. She reviewed the documents carefully, taking notes. The will is clear, she said. Your grandfather left everything to you, Diego. The doctor's letter is fake. No record of that clinic in town. And the bank transfers to your parents are a red flag. We can sue for fraud, theft, and abuse, but it'll be a long fight. My grandfather, sitting beside me, squeezed my hand. Do it, little one. Don't let them get away. Sophia explained the plan. We'd file a civil lawsuit to recover the house and money, while the police investigated the criminal side. But there was a problem. My parents knew we'd expose them. They might try to destroy evidence or even run, Sophia said. We have to move fast. I told her to start immediately, and she promised to have papers ready in a couple of days. That night, I left my grandfather in my apartment and went to a cyber cafe to investigate. I didn't want to use my Wi-Fi in case my parents had tricks. I searched their names, social media, bank accounts, anything. I found an old profile of my dad's where he posted photos of my grandfather's house, bragging about our new life. Each post made my blood boil. I also saw my mom had been searching for lawyers online. They knew we were coming for them. The next day, things got weird. I got a text from my dad. Son, let's talk. It was all a misunderstanding. Come to the house. I didn't reply, but showed it to Sophia. Don't go, she said. It's a trap to make you sign something or worse. Instead, she sent a legal notice to my parents demanding they return the property and money. This will rattle them, she said. Let's see what they do. We didn't have to wait long. That afternoon, while I was with my grandfather at the apartment, someone knocked. It was my mom, alone with red eyes. Diego, please let me talk, she said. I didn't want to let her in, but my grandfather insisted. Let her in, little one. I want to hear her. I let her pass, but stayed close, ready for anything. Manuel, I'm sorry, she started, looking at my grandfather. We didn't mean to hurt you. It was Carlos's idea. He said it was the only way to save the house. My grandfather looked at her coldly. You locked me up like a dog, Laura, and lied to my grandson. She cried, but it didn't convince me. Mom, I found the papers. I know everything. This isn't fixed with tears, I said. She tried to hug me, but I stepped back. Leave. We'll see you in court. When she left, my grandfather was exhausted. I helped him to bed and gave him his pills. Don't trust her, little one, he murmured. She never changed. I sat by him until he fell asleep, thinking how my mom always played the victim but never fixed anything. The rage was still there, but now it was colder, more focused. The next few days were chaos. Sophia filed a lawsuit, and the police called to say they'd found more evidence. They traced the bank transfers to an offshore account my dad opened right after my grandfather's death. They also found the doctor who signed the fake letter no longer worked in the country. This is big, Diego, Martinez said. They could face jail. But my parents didn't give up. They hired an expensive lawyer who sent letters claiming it was all an administrative error. They tried to blame my grandfather, saying he was confused by his illness. That infuriated me. My grandfather might be weak, but his mind was sharp. Every time we talked, he gave details that matched the documents. One night, while reviewing notes with Sophia, I got a call from a nursing home. Diego, your grandfather isn't here. Someone took him. My heart stopped. I raced to the apartment, but it was empty. The door wasn't forced, but there was a note on the table. If you want to see him, come. You know where. It was my dad's handwriting. I knew he meant my grandfather's house. I called Sophia and Martinez, but didn't wait. I drove to the house, rage and fear mixing. The door was open when I arrived. I walked in and found my grandfather on the couch, my dad beside him. My mom stood in the corner, staring at the floor. Diego, calm down, my dad said, raising his hands. We just want to talk. No more talking, I said. You kidnapped him. This is over. My grandfather looked at me, breathing heavily. I'm okay, little one, but don't let them win. My dad tried to explain, saying he was protecting my grandfather, but his lies didn't work anymore. I called Martinez on speakerphone. I'm at the house. Come now, I said. My parents went pale. My mom started yelling. She didn't want to go to jail, while my dad tried to calm her. I ignored them, helped my grandfather up, and got him out. The police arrived minutes later and arrested them for kidnapping and obstruction. Seeing them in handcuffs was strange, but I felt no pity. They crossed every line. Back at my apartment, my grandfather was exhausted. I gave him his pills and let him rest. "You did it, little one," he murmured. "I knew you could." But I didn't feel like I'd won. The lawsuit was ongoing, and my grandfather was weaker every day. I knew his heart wouldn't hold out much longer, but I was determined to fight to the end. For him, for the truth, for everything they stole. The next morning was tense. Sophia called early. "Diego, the judge wants a preliminary hearing tomorrow. Your parents are trying to delay, but the evidence is solid." I felt relieved but nervous. My parents always had a trick. "And there's more," Sophia said. "The police found emails between your dad and a lawyer planning to bribe a witness to say your grandfather was crazy. That didn't surprise me, but it fueled my anger. They didn't just steal, they wanted to tarnish his name." I went to wake my grandfather to tell him, but he was sitting on the couch, looking at an old photo of us in his garden. "I was happy there, little one," he said softly. "When this is over, I want to go back." I promised we would. The house would be ours again, and we'd fix it together. But deep down, I feared he wouldn't live to see it. That day, I took him for a short walk to clear his head. We went to a park near my building. The fresh air did him good, and for a moment, he was a strong grandfather I remembered, telling stories of his youth running in the fields. But on the way back, he got very tired. I had to help him up to the apartment. "I'm fine, little one," he said, but his breathing was heavy. I gave him a pill and let him rest. That night, while reviewing notes of the hearing, I got a text from an unknown number. "Stop, or something will happen to your grandfather." My heart raced. I called Martinez and sent him the message. "It's a clear threat," he said. "I'm sending a patrol to your building. Don't go out." I woke my grandfather and told him, but I didn't want to scare him. "I'm not afraid of them, little one," he said with a spark in his eyes. "They can't hurt me anymore." The patrol arrived quickly, and Martinez showed up in person. "We think your parents are behind this," he said. "They're desperate, but don't worry, we'll catch them." I left my grandfather with a cop outside the apartment and went with Martinez to the station to give a statement. While talking, I couldn't stop thinking about my grandfather, alone and frail. I wanted to get back to him. When I returned, everything fell apart. The cop at the door was on his radio, his face grim. I ran inside and found my grandfather on the couch, motionless, eyes closed. "Grandpa!" I shouted, shaking him. The cop called an ambulance, but I knew it was too late. His hands were cold. The paramedic confirmed it. A heart attack. My grandfather was gone without warning, without goodbye. I sat beside him, my mind blank. Rage, pain, it all knotted together, and I couldn't untangle it. The cop tried to console me, but I didn't hear. I just thought about how my grandfather died fighting, never giving up, and now it was my turn to finish what we started. The next day, I went to the hearing with Sophia, eyes swollen but mind clear. My parents were there with their fancy lawyer, acting innocent. When I saw them, something broke. "My grandfather died because of you," I said, interrupting the judge. Sophia tried to calm me, but I couldn't stop. "You locked him away, stole from him, and now he's dead. You deserve nothing." The judge called for order, but my parents wouldn't meet my eyes. They knew it was true. The hearing was quick. The evidence was overwhelming. Fake documents, bank transfers, emails the police found. The judge ordered the house, and money returned to me per my grandfather's will. He also said the criminal case would continue, and my parents would face charges for fraud, abuse, and even manslaughter for the stress they caused. I felt no joy, just a cold emptiness. That night, I went to my grandfather's house. I walked through the garden, touching the trees we planted together. Everything reminded me of him. I found an old box in his room with letters he wrote me as a kid. One said, "Always fight for what's right, little one." Never let them take what you love. I cried for first time since his death, but it wasn't just sadness. It was strength. The police caught my parent a week later, hiding in a nearby town. The criminal trial was tough. Their lawyer tried to blame my grandfather, claiming he was confused by illness, but the emails, transfers, and my testimony sank them. My dad got 8 years in prison, my mom 6. When they were sentenced, I felt nothing. They'd stopped being my family long ago. With my grandfather's money, I fixed up the house. I turned the garden into a community park with a sign, in memory of Manuel Garcia, a man who never gave up. Kids from town played there, and every laugh made me feel he was with me. I kept his things in a special room with his photos and letters, my way of keeping him alive. Sometimes I got letters from my parents in prison, begging forgiveness. I burned them without reading. There was nothing to say. They chose their path, and I chose mine. My life went back to being quiet, fixing computers, but now I had purpose. Every day, I worked to honor my grandfather, to keep his name alive. On clear nights, I looked at the stars and thought of him. There was no goodbye, but I didn't need one. His strength, his laugh, his little one, it all lived in me. I got justice, not just for him, but for both of us. And that was enough.